Hey guys, what's going on? It's Joe, and we've got a great episode for you this week. We'll be reviewing Deadpool 2 with Hayden Sammak of Deadfellow, whose album Millennials in Love and Other Pre-Apocalyptic Standards comes out on June 23rd. I think he's even got a single up on Spotify right now, so make sure to go check that out. It's Deadpool with Deadfellow. I'm sure we cover that extensively on the actual episode. But before we get to that, be sure to join our Facebook movie discussion group. How Many Fingers Am I Holding Up? The podcast Facebook group. That's what it's called. Also, be sure to support the podcast by copping some of that hot-ass merch. Only available at howmanyfingerspodcast.bigcartel.com. And check out last week's episode of the O-Word podcast with Joe Mano. I was the special guest. So that makes it worth checking out, right? Yeah, but let's get into the episode. We're reviewing Tully next week, but right now we'll be reviewing Deadpool 2. Enjoy. Hi, I'm Joe.
And I'm Mike.
And you're listening to How Many Fingers Am I Holding Up? The podcast. And this week we'll be reviewing Deadpool 2.
Well, I hope I don't break the fourth wall.
Okay, Mike, what are you looking at? The camera's right there. Hey everyone, and welcome to How Many Fingers Am I Holding Up? Featuring two guys giving the ol' razzle-dazzle and reviewing films in a weekly podcast form.
Whoa, films, switching it up. Movies is what we usually say.
You know what? Deadpool 2 is a film.
It's a film, it's not just a
fucking
movie.
film, and you need to respect it that way.
But thank you to my beautiful and wonderful girlfriend, Rowan Court, on Facebook for that synonym suggestion. We finally got to you, baby. But, you want to introduce the guest sitting betwixt us, Joe?
I would love to.
Introduce me as your beautiful girlfriend.
Okay. My beautiful girlfriend, Hayden Sammak of Deadfellow, or AKA Deadfellow. Welcome back to the podcast.
It is good to be back.
I'm so glad. Thank you. Losif Jomas here, reporting live from the podcast. But yeah,
Mike, thank you as well.
I mean,
yeah, I did what I could.
Let's talk about. I mean, last time you were on here, we did Logan Lucky, and
Lucky Logan.
I think you were which would have been a more reasonable title for that film.
No, but it was his name.
It was their surname.
Was Logan their surname?
No, wait, maybe they were both Logan?
Was anyone named Lucky in this movie?
No. Okay. I mean, maybe they were just, it was implying that they were not lucky, and it was
well, go ironic. Listen to our review of Logan Lucky and tell us what we said.
It's so memorable that we don't remember why the title is called Logan Lucky. I think maybe they're both Logan.
I hate character movies where they give like the characters like Max secret killer the whole time, like where they give them the over obvious last names. Secret killer the whole time is a little bit of hyperbole, but demonstrate the point.
But last time when we did Logan Lucky, the title without an explanation, I think you were still recording the album Millennials in Love under the name of Deadpool. Under the name of Deadfellow.
Yeah.
And now you're getting ready to release it.
I am.
And when is that going to be released?
June 23rd at Johnny Brenda's.
It's coming right around there. And Johnny Brenda's is a bar in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
and
it is a club in Fishtown. It's V-cool.
Sounds V-cool.
Is it still the full title, Millennials in Love and Other Pre-Apocalyptic Standards? Oh, I love that.
Damn!
Yes, so good. It is.
It's stuck with him that long.
And you do have the title track from that is out already, right?
Yeah, the title track is out. I got a single coming out very soon, and then I have another single coming out, and then the whole record comes out But the yeah, man, it's gonna be cool. I'm working on another one after this. It's called Live from the Cosmic Mirror Hotel. So while we're talking about records, I thought you'd like that.
Oh yeah, I do like that.
You do have these great titles, man.
Yeah,
you should have named Logan Lucky.
I literally wish all I had to do was make up like titles
Album
for
titles.
records.
Not actually write the music.
Well, I just name them like college courses. You know what I mean? Like they have to have like that certain amount of cadence.
Yes.
I wanted to call one Roses, Mirrors, etc. Symbolism in Contemporary Songwriting. But Kiki told me that was too long.
I had a college course that was Shamans, Witches, and Magic. That would be a good album title.
Shamans, Witches, and Magic. Jim Morrison's dead.
But what's it called? WMMR is putting that on, right? And that's a kind of local.
WXPN is putting it on.
Double XPN.
WXPN.
Double
XX.
WXPN.
Double XPN.
Double XPN.
It's like ESPN on steroids.
Let me bang, bro. That will forever.
I do let you bang.
I do let you bang, bro. Let me bang again.
Let me bang. I'm gonna put. We don't have show notes, but I'm gonna put a link to that in our newfound show notes, so you guys can watch this video that Hayden sent me yesterday. And it really, we have like a group of friends where we share memes. I know that sounds terrible, but everybody really appreciated that.
Well, it doesn't sound great, Joe.
It's 2018, baby. We got meme sharing.
Memes are meant to be shared.
I have a couple of friends who I'm involved in a meme sharing group. But like it's weird.
As the kids call it.
They yeah.
Even coming out of your mouth, it
They're
sounds
gonna be
so
like
wrong.
Public service like things like are your children in
Are your kids sharing me?
How to tell if you're but they have like this thing where like the less discernible they are, like the less sense that they make, or like the less like funny they are.
Yes.
Like the more that they like them. And I just don't get it at all. It's like, Cheerios and a glass of tap water, bro. I'm like, what am I supposed to get from this photograph you sent me?
Yeah. No, yeah, I get that. But that was from like, did you watch that show, or is that just a clip you stumbled upon?
It's just a clip I stumbled upon.
Okay, because I was trying to gather a bigger context of Let Me Bang Bro. I was like, what is this from?
It's
like,
well, I know what it's
UFC
from. It's from this show.
Reality show.
So when
FX.
so I don't know if it still goes, but the back when like MMA was like hit its like high point, right? And,
right.
Like,
yes.
Yeah, I used to work in a mixed martial arts gym, so like.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, so I kind of like that stuff. And
you were in those circles.
Yeah, for a little bit in like 2010, 2011.
Is that common MMA terminology? Let me bang, bro.
No. Was everyone talking about Joe Rogan?
It's just that dude. Yeah. I mean, Joe Rogan's a pretty popular dude.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, if you go to iTunes, he's
a pretty funny
top of
guy.
the list. Yeah.
But the
it's our biggest competition.
But every MMA guy, he's like, you do a podcast? Hold on, I got a recommendation for you, Joe Rogan. I know you probably haven't heard of him. I'm like, no, he's the biggest thing in podcasting right now. Yeah. Like,
are all your like people giving you recommendations from like Chicago or something? What was that accent?
No, exactly. No, that's my MMA
Chicago accent. Dude, deep dish.
Give me a deep dish Joe Rogan pizza, huh?
So that's from a show called The Ultimate Fighter.
Right.
And I'm probably speaking off mic right now. We're not going to do that anymore. That's from a show called The Ultimate Fighter, which was a reality series based on giving high level professional, but like lower professional. So like, basically, if you kick someone, if you're not like using like shin guards and shit, like it's considered a professional fight because like they put money behind it. Right. So, but there are like tiers and like leagues and stuff. So like your lower level professional fighters, there was this like reality show where basically they like fucking like put like 12 of them in a house,
right,
and who were all going to fight each other at some point. So clearly things never got tense there. And they were just like, all right, like It was basically American Idol for douchebags.
Because aren't there like captains in the show? And I think that's the context of the clip.
Yeah, and then the captains fight
the guy is
end.
asking the captain guy to like let him bang.
Let him bang, which is fight. Yeah,
he lost
and
his
he's like,
fight.
I do let you bang, bro.
Well, because even after they lose the fight, I think like they keep him in the house.
Well, he's probably good for ratings because
they're all pissed off. And,
Oh, I watched a longer clip with more context, and the guy was like, "Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing in retrospect. Like my mom was promoting one of my fights, and she like posted a GIF that was just like, 'Let me bang, bro,' and she was like, 'Let my son bang, bro,' or something. He's like, 'It's real embarrassing. I'm living with it right now.' But yeah,
I feel like letting family members bang is how they got into that mess in the first place.
Most definitely. But it's like Top Chef for UFC fighters.
Oh, probably.
But
yeah, yes, exactly.
But if all of Top Chef lived in a house like Road Rules or something, you know, I get that.
Big Brother,
I would
Top
almost,
Chef.
If all moments were like that in that show, I would watch that show easily, hands down.
And like instead of just like having like occasional spats, like you get to see like them have like an all-out fucking drag out, knock down, or knock down, drag out, or whatever that is, fucking fight.
We had, and this is gonna be a sharp turn for the subject.
We should start talking about Deadpool at some point.
We're gonna talk about Deadpool soon, guys. Again, because this is a big draw, is that it's Deadpool 2. But Hayden and I had the most random run-in I've ever had, maybe of all time, at Whole Foods yesterday.
I've never seen you anywhere before.
Yeah, no, and I've only seen you here once, and we were just in like the fucking deli line together in Whole Foods for a really long time, and I was eyeing up Hayden for so long, and I was like,
I'd like a piece of that ass.
I was like,
let me bang, bro.
I was like, let me bang again. And he's like, I do. But I was just like, I was dropping off something for my girlfriend, so I was at a different Whole Foods than I usually was, and I guess you were at your parents' house or something.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you approached me, because I like could not, like, you didn't have your longer hair.
Yeah.
And I was looking real great in like a stained sweatshirt and like a beard that maybe like an 8th grader would be proud of.
I didn't notice it.
Yes. But we're just like, hey man. It was really weird. Very weird run-in. I don't really know the point of bringing it up, but it was so significant
nice.
to,
I was getting ham.
He was.
The guy was confused too. He was like, do you want anything else? I was like, no, just the ham.
Just the ham.
And then I went up to the cashier, and the cashier was confused too. She's like, just the ham? I was like,
I fucking hate when like cashiers judge you for what you're buying. Like, none of your business.
Yeah, don't worry if I'm
going
buying
ham.
Yeah. Don't worry if I'm buying a condom and cap guns.
Yes.
It's fine.
I was buying like a vegan chicken salad sandwich and turmeric.
Oh man. Well, yeah, I see why you get judged by cashiers.
Yes. No, but no judgment.
The one time, just on the condoms and cap guns.
Just to go back to that point.
I want to clarify this.
Yes. Okay. True story.
When my brother was, he was one of those like kids who like had like a girlfriend at like 13 and then kept them until like fucking 18.
Whoa.
So like their relationship like progressed a little
They're
quicker.
having
So
sex really soon.
well, he was like 14 or something like that, and so I just started driving, and he's about like 2.5 years younger than me. And he asked me to take him to CVS and drive him like to get condoms. And I told him the only way that I would do that is if he bought the condoms, but he also bought 2 other items that I got to pick. So it was around Halloween, so I made him buy a Halloween mask, a cap gun, and like, at like fucking, the fucking like 17-year-old, it's like, haha, what a funny amalgam of items to buy. But like, to a not 17-year-old, that looks like somebody about to go and commit a horrible crime.
Is this consensual?
Yeah.
Dude, kind of. I mean, I didn't have.
So anyway.
Why do we always end up on this subject? I didn't have college until I was in sex. I mean,
by the way,
I didn't have college until I was in sex. But anyway, no, some kid when I was like a cashier at Rite Aid or something, and some guy who was like a grade above me, like when I was a junior, he was a senior, came in and bought condoms. And I thought that was the funniest thing. And maybe in retrospect, that made me like look like the more fucking stupid one. But I like could not. I was having such a hard time getting through that transaction without like laughing. I was like, "You're having sex," and really, he's like, "Have you not had sex yet?" And I'm like,
Yeah, I remember like turning that corner from being like really embarrassed of buying condoms to being like, I'm having a way better night than
talking on a podcast about watching Click.
Stop.
Has your dad listened to that episode yet?
No, I think my little brother has.
Okay.
I mean,
well, you've got more dirt on your little brother, though. Yeah. It sounds like.
Did I tell you about that?
Off-camera girlfriend.
She loves
interaction.
It. Yeah, she loves it when I talk about how I lost my virginity.
To Click.
To Click.
To Adam Sandler's Click.
I mean, didn't we all kind of lose our virginity? Isn't that like right? Isn't that right when like we all kind
lose our
of
virginity
like?
To Click?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's when I feel like that's right where Adam Sandler lost his innocence, right? For everybody, that's when everyone simultaneously.
Adam Sandler's not going to be funny anymore. I might as well just start having sex.
Exactly.
I might as well get a job and retire.
All sense of wonder.
Adam Sandler sucks. It's like when you realize that it was like really. It was.
You became an adult.
I'm not sure what was a more traumatic experience for me: the disappointment of losing my virginity. Oh man, or fucking, getting mentally fucked by Adam Sandler's just reverse meteoric
fall from greatness.
Right, but then you'll watch like Punch Drunk Love, and you're like, maybe things are gonna be all right.
Adam Sandler's career was like a firework that didn't explode at the top.
Yes,
it's a cardboard cannonball.
But people still love him. He's incredibly marketable on
Cardboard
Netflix,
Cannonball.
and that's why I don't know. But let's talk about fucking Deadpool.
Yeah, how far are we into this?
Let's talk about. We're supposed to be drinking something.
Okay, so this is Canadian Gold. If everyone wants to take a sip and gag, Canadian Gold, sponsor us. We look forward to it. Whoa. Hayden and I took a shot of this, and Hayden choked for what was 2 minutes, and
oh my
looks
God.
like he's still
Canadian Gold, don't sponsor anything. Go out of business. Turn into a tap water factory because bottled tap water would be significantly more marketable than this.
Rubbing alcohol.
The only upside to this whiskey is that it gets you drunk enough that you forget you're drinking it.
That's bad.
Yeah, it's
Canadian
not great.
Gold. Do they have Canadian silver, or was that like banned by like the fucking FDA because it was poisoning people?
No, I think they were. I think when you come into the market with this bad of a product, you have to upsell it.
Canadian Gold.
Yes,
it's the best we got.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to taste silver. But yeah. Hi, if you're just joining us and you've been pressing the forward 15 seconds button for quite a while now, we're about to get into our review of Deadpool 2.
How far are we into this?
Mike, would you like to give us the IMDb
minutes.
description? Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
Every time.
Here it goes.
Deadpool 2, according to IMDb. Foul-mouthed mutant mercenary Wade Wilson.
I thought that was the beer.
AKA...
Oh man, like
it was not the beer.
As soon as it started coming in.
Okay. One more time with feeling. Foul-mouthed mutant mercenary Wade Wilson, aka Deadpool, brings together a team of fellow mutant rogues to protect a young boy of supernatural abilities from the brutal time-traveling mutant Cable.
All right. Well, I don't have a lot to say, but Deadpool 2 was directed by David Leitch. And he was uncredited as a co-director for John Wick. He
it smells like suntan lotion.
I don't know about that, but he also directed
No, I feel that.
Atomic Blonde, which we reviewed. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Besides that, he has also directed Deadpool: No Good Deed, which was a short film,
John Wick?
and Celine Dion's Ashes, a video short.
Who's John Wick?
He's
Keanu Reeves.
a fellow who kills
The
people.
action movie.
Have you never heard of John Wick?
I feel like it does have a weird sort of like cult.
I'm confused about the director thing.
Okay.
So he was just like, I want to direct this movie, but I don't want any credit, please.
Yeah, well,
that seems counterintuitive.
I'm like honestly a little confused about that too. It was co-directed, but there was like a silent director kind of thing. I don't know whether
if there was a talking director.
What if
that would have come across great.
Maybe the studio was like, we don't want this fucking guy attached. Who's this fucking guy? Or like maybe I don't know. I can't imagine not wanting to attach your name.
Was it Harvey Weinstein's studio?
Yes, and
yeah,
he was like,
that's why.
Unless you. I'm not gonna go down this road. I don't want to go down this road. Yeah,
imagine
go down this road,
dude. Now, okay, so there, that's where it is, right? It's like fucking when he initially had done that, he was like, man, it sucks that like I can't put my name on this because of whatever fucking studio is like doing this. And then as soon as the Harvey Weinstein thing came out, he was probably like, holy shit, I just dodged the biggest bullet in cinema history.
It wasn't actually Harvey's studio.
Oh,
Joe
man.
was fucking with you.
We're just talking about the Bohemian Rhapsody movie or whatever, and we're talking about
did fucking John Wick direct that too?
Like Sacha Baron Cohen, like we're talking about how like Sacha Baron Cohen was originally supposed to, he was working on that for like 5 or 6 years or something, and then he dropped out because the members of Queen were like, no, we don't really want homosexuality in this film, we don't really want drug use in this film, and then they brought in Mr. Robot. I don't know. We got onto the subject of kind of like, I think I was talking about Sacha Baron Cohen doing an interview where it was kind of like he would have these parties that were like extremely exploitive. And
Sacha Baron Cohen would, or Freddie Mercury?
Freddie Mercury. And there would just be like, he would hire a ton of midgets to like kind of like duct tape plates to their head. And he'd put like tons of cocaine on them.
What day is
and
it?
then there'd be massive, it's Sunday. There'd be like massive kind of orgies or whatever. And Hayden was like, yeah, like that's like a great thing to like brag to your friends about until like 2 years later. And you're like, yeah, I don't really know what you're talking about. Like, you're just.
It was awesome until it, like, you know, how sick is that story? Like, yeah, dude,
like, I was being fucked by Freddie Mercury.
Well, and
then 2 years later,
not quite what I lead off with.
Oh, yeah, I don't. Who?
Yeah.
They say he has HIV. Yeah, I don't know.
Whereas Donald Trump is considered HPV.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, that's that. A lot of other stuff has happened. Let's just get into the conversation. I'll bring up kind of Joe Notes as we go. Joe Notes.
Trademark.
Nice. Remember when Donald Trump called Hillary Clinton nasty woman? That was crazy.
Somebody in our meme group posted that YouTube video today. You said that.
That's true.
But again, this guy who directed it is kind of like this stuntman who has coordinated and performed some of the best stunts over the past 2 decades.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no.
That's pretty interesting.
He did like stunts for like V for Vendetta and
Didn't see it.
Just a ton of other shit, action movies. And then both films that he did before this, John Wick, which Hayden's not familiar with, and Atomic Blonde.
Did not Click, you didn't see it.
I've seen Click and Apocalypse Now, that's it.
They have these...
I don't want to know what happened during Apocalypse Now.
Anal.
We do now know.
Here we go again.
What was Apocalypse Now?
Messy.
You don't know what the movie
Apocalypse
Now is?
Wait, it was Apocalypse... Oh, okay. It was Apocalypse Now. Okay.
What do you
Nothing.
You're confusing me.
Going into a different... Okay.
Continue your point.
Anyway, incredible stunt sequences in these 2 other films that he directed. And when he was a stunt coordinator, tons of shit. But then it comes to this movie, and there's so many stunts that are just CG, and there's a lot of like fighting sequences that, like, there's he
literally says, "Here's a CGI fight sequence."
CGI no, yeah, definitely, and that's with what's his name.
When can we start ragging on this movie, man? I'm ready.
That's whatever. The CGI fights, it happens. But then when like Josh Brolin like kind of like storms the prison in that scene, like that was so lame. That was kind of like he was doing this move where he's rapping like prison guards like arms around their own neck and breaking their arms, which sounds cool, but he did it like maybe 5 or 6 times, and it didn't look cool any of those times. It looked. I
feel like
really
the audio
lame.
is what came short in that fight scene because it would just.
I was
be
about
like
to say, did I see this in a bad theater? Because some of this audio was really shitty.
It would just be like the slightest like boop, 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 just like bumping these guys with his elbows, and like it didn't have any of like the bone breaking like crunch of like a real good fight scene.
I just also think it had I thought it had poor stunt coordination. Nothing looked that crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine like seeing somebody kick somebody's ass like that in like real life? Like we're all like in movies like, wow, that's like fucking like awesome. But like if you saw that, you'd like throw up and you'd have to go to therapy for like a really long time.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah. Did you
cutting off arms with ninjas?
Where did you see this?
Zero contextualization.
Yeah, I know you saw this movie on the way here. Did you have a story about that?
I saw it at 309 Cinemas or AMC 309 or fucking whatever, man. Like they had reclining seats. And I'm into that, like heavy. They had like a little like thing where you could lift the arm up. So my girlfriend and I got to like
second base.
Right, honey? Honey, I'm on the television.
It's going well.
Yeah, it's going well.
Yeah.
We're in love.
Baby, I have a really important message.
Yeah. Well, they had like the thing it was pretty darn.
It was cool.
Great. She didn't want to come to this.
No, Deadpool 2 and then a podcast. It sounds like a double feature in torture, yeah. But what was the
question?
Go. Shoot.
Towards the end of this,
right?
I would like to hear her take. So could we do like a
yes? If she wants to come in,
absolutely hop on. If she would like to.
That would be funny. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, what were you gonna ask me before I
was just gonna ask you if you had any sort of theater experience.
Yeah, I was in a theater once.
I experienced.
It sounds good. That sounds like a theater I want to go to.
It was nice.
Real gripping stuff.
While we're plugging alcohol, I want to thank the creators of G-Joy Sake. It sounds like a sex toy. It's not.
It's not a sex toy. It's
G-Joy.
a G-Joy.
It's actually sake.
G-Joy Sake. Hit that drunken G-spot, right? It's that level of perfect drunk. Honey, I'm brand new.
G-Joy, you should definitely sponsor us.
Way better than the Canadian. This tastes like melons, and it's $10, and it's 20%. And there is 300 milliliters.
Hit me with a spot of it.
There is none left, but I'll see if there's anything left.
Hit me with a drip of it.
A little drip.
Okay.
Oh, there is.
That's a good amount.
It's melony.
Oh, yeah, that's really great.
Right? Mm-hmm. So you can drink it without a chaser.
It tastes like cantaloupe or something.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
It's enough to put a fucking hitch in your giddy up.
Yes,
Trademark.
And it's a perfect size for sneaking into movie theaters. In fact, it's even like... It's like matte black. Like if I told you this is my fucking like protein shake, you'd be like, you can't bring protein shakes into the theater, but I believe you.
You'd be like, let me bang, bro!
Bang, bro. G-Joy.
You're never gonna live down showing that to me because I'm just gonna keep bringing it up.
Oh, please, by all means, man, I'm into that. Okay, so that's my experience with the movie theater. Thank you, G-Joy Sake.
I went opening night, which is I don't.
Wow, that must have been crazy.
I saw it like not totally the first time that it was on, but definitely like it was. I think it was on at first at like 7:30 p.m. because that's the way Disney midnight premieres are 7:30 p.m.
Wait, that's a Disney movie?
Oh, yeah. Disney acquired Fox, which Fox owns X-Men, and Deadpool is kind of in the X-Men.
I'm shocked that Disney produced that.
I don't think they put their name on it. I think it was already probably in production too before Disney acquired Fox.
Do you think Disney has some secret pornographic entities?
Oh, I mean, listen, I don't even if this was in the realm of Disney, I think they acquired Fox so they can make Fox's money, but I don't think Disney would be like, hey, don't
I was about to say something about this. I was about to be like, this film felt a little more like, hey, don't make fun of Marvel. I Am Groot is funny. You don't fucking laugh behind our back. You laughed with us, because I Am Groot is funny. Making fun of that, like, Captain America might have, like, a dildo is not funny. Like, you know, like, it felt like just, like, we only make fun of the X-Men. We don't make fun of, like, this.
They made fun of
It
DC
ripped
a
on
lot.
Marvel a little bit.
They did. They said, like, Brown Panther and, like...
Is this a
just
dark...
references.
This is dark.
Oh, that was
it's
DC,
Marvel.
yeah.
Oh.
DC is the dark... the dark comic kind of.
Dark Universe is a whole other thing.
Yes, it is.
Fucking nerds.
I got a movie podcast. It's not that bad.
Not by choice, Hayden.
Let's talk about this fucking movie, though.
Okay.
Did you?
Have you seen the first Deadpool, Hayden?
I think maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
We talked about this off camera.
I'm
too, and you
sure
said the
I've
same thing,
seen
yeah.
someone in a suit in the context of like snarky superheroes beating up other people. I feel like wasn't there like some like big cliff at the end of the last Deadpool and like they were in like a junkyard? Wasn't like Magneto in it or something like that?
It wasn't Magneto, but
But it was
Someone
someone
had
who had
magnetic
similar
powers,
control
right?
over magnets. How long until that well runs dry? Like who's like, you know what, we don't have enough magnet superheroes. We need more magnet
right.
superheroes.
I mean, they kind of touch on that in this movie where, like, Cable is basically, like, just all the different, like, cliches in one. It's like the
Cable
robotic
is a
arm
fucking
thing,
horrible
like
name.
Well, let's
Comcast is way scarier than just regular cable.
try to go through that customer service. I was trying to kind of prepare Hayden before this with just kind of talking about if there's any review
As you might, man.
if there's any review out of like the fucking 100+ reviews that we've done so far, I feel like we really fucking hated Deadpool, the original. And I don't have
that point did not come across.
okay. Yeah, I don't think I have as big of a problem with this film, and I think like there's even like the like it starts with like the Josh Brolin character, and I think this Cable character is this movie starts off real rough. I don't want to talk about that yet, but I mean we have Cable who's kind of this satire of like comics in the 90s where he's got like all these fucking like he's got this huge gun and he's got like all these kind of like ammo packs or whatever, and it's making fun of like the fucking, you know, America's brother-in-law who loves like Spawn and like those comics, and like that's what Deadpool is born out of. It's like 90s comics kind of, and it's kind of making fun of that.
The whole thing wouldn't have happened if they just all sat down together and had a 10-minute conversation at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, most definitely. But
Could have been fine.
But I mean, you could also say that, but then like the movie would be like, both these movies thinks they're like critic or critique proof by being like, it's all just a joke, bro. You know, like
I had a problem.
hate that about
like there
this.
was like when you break down the fourth wall constantly, you don't have any of the charm of breaking down the fourth wall. You just kind of have like a movie with
No fourth
participation and fucking begging. Too much self-referential.
Right. And
Fuck this movie.
Well, see, the first movie is like, if I break the wall 4 times, does that mean I'm breaking the 16 walls or something? Like, it got really, really, really bad. I think they tone it down a little in this movie.
Really?
Yes.
I couldn't get
Dude,
over it.
The first movie's so bad. It's so bad that this movie kind of looks better in comparison. Where, I mean, I cringed really hard when they were in the jail, kind of, and he was like, you know, they always keep like the monster in the basement, and he like looks directly at the camera, and he's like, foreshadowing, and I was like, come on, man, you're like, we know that, like, just shut up, like.
I mean, it is Deadpool's character to break the fourth wall,
right, yeah.
so they have to do it. I guess the problem is that at times they don't do it well in this movie. Although I do think there are times where I think I like the fourth wall breaks in terms of humor in this better than like the ultra like super like douchebag bro like humor that's in here. Like there's the one scene that we talked about off camera where like I can't even remember the context. I think it's when he's fighting like the people in like the dojo or whatever, and he's slicing off all their arms, and he slices off like one of their like little samurai
I don't think
diaper
that was
things.
a dojo.
And then I don't know what it was.
It's like a Japanese bathhouse.
Yeah, and then he comes
We're
face
just
to face,
assuming that they're
face to face
dojos.
with the guy's genitalia, and he's like, "Oh, Scoutmaster Kevin," and it's like it's this sort of like lowbrow, like it's like humor that is only funny because it's vulgar, and there's not any like real like punchline to it other than like, "Oh, can you imagine like child molestation in like Boy Scouts?" Like,
I could imagine that. I
happened.
believe
We've already talked about it on this podcast too. But
I'm less behind humor like that, and I can get behind some of like the fourth wall breaks in this because at least that's part of Deadpool's character, and it requires a little bit more intelligence to it. Like I think one of my like biggest laughs in this movie is when they're in the bar, and the one like bar patron is like trying to like console him, and he like messes up his line, and he's like, "We're not giving you the lines again," and he like walks out. Like, that took like a little bit to like come up with.
we're not
something
giving you like
that.
speaking lines
And
anymore.
it's an actual joke because it's like expectation, and then it's like a benign violation of that expectation. Like
Do the bottom?
something is supposed to happen, and he messes up the line, and then that's essentially what a fourth wall break always is
Yeah.
a violation of.
Do the bottom of your socks say, "Please rub my feet"? On
Yes, if you can read this, please rub my feet.
Wait, the other one says, "If you can read this,
Yes.
you lift higher."
Do I have them on the right feet?
If you can read this.
Yeah.
What about like, "Please rub my feet if you can read this"? I feel like that would be a much more useful thing because you could just stick that in people's faces and they'd feel obligated as people who could.
We'll get started, Hayden.
Hayden,
Oh, God.
you read it. Get at it.
Oh no, I wish my knuckles cracked better.
If you're reading this, it's too
Let's
late.
talk about another problem in Deadpool, right?
Go for it.
With my cracking knuckles. The audio apparently was unsatisfactory. I blew out one of my ears, so I can't really hear super well. So I thought that was just me.
Is it just me, or did it finished strong with audio, but I thought the beginning was a little like I was kind of like, I don't know whether I'm sitting in a bad theater. One of our friends, Nick, who listens to the podcast pretty frequently, is like, I think you're just going to a bad theater. And I was like, no, I know I'm not going to a bad theater. Like I go to a theater with Dolby sound in it, Nick. But no, this one I literally was like, am I in a bad theater? Because like the beginning of this film had bad audio, but I think it finishes strong. What did you feel like with this audio?
Once again, I can't hear super well.
It was really strong in the left, and I didn't hear a lot of it. Right.
Actually,
I feel like the theater.
my left is the one that's fucked up. But while we were waiting for you guys to finish your last one, you can see there's a bottle of eardrops over there that I took an opportunity to use.
Right on next week's
I
episode,
bought
I'm
them.
like, Mike, who's this fucking freak in my house with fucking eardrops?
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't really notice, actually.
No,
I didn't know.
I
kind of
think the
like
only-
that though. Like I have a really, I can like see violence, but like to hear like the, you know, like that's a pretty good neck breaking sound effect. Just by the way, that was
Very
pretty good.
great, yeah. Is there even
I have
a
a
scene where
problem.
somebody's eating celery or something in this movie? What is that from? Did I just see? Okay, maybe I'm not.
I don't know what you're
I'm
talking
thinking of
about.
something else. Okay, go on.
But that's also, yes, an example of violence.
Yes, no, yeah.
Vegetable violence. Yeah, man. All this is to say, I did not notice that.
The only time I really noticed it was the fight that I brought up before with Cable, where like he's being very physical and he's not using his guns yet, and it was just kind of like it was a weird rhythm to everything. Like I feel like they weren't really like messing with the time remapping of it at all, and it just like the hits weren't really hitting. Like it was just kind of like pit 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 pit.
I now just like compare everything to that Mission Impossible trailer where Henry Cavill is kind of like
Oh, yeah.
like before he fights Tom Cruise, I'm like, yeah, that gets me rock hard. Let's do it, man. Like, like
My hang up though is like
every trailer before every
like-
movie I see.
I kind of tend to always lean towards more subtle things being more tasteful in my mind. Like that's like that fucking movie Drive.
Okay.
or whatever. You know, like a lot of that was like that. I mean, and granted, totally fucking different movie. Like no one's like watching fucking Deadpool for the subtlety, but strictly on like a sound design, I'm more inclined to like believe things when they aren't so like
in your face.
Yeah, like I've broken my arm like a couple of times. It's never gone. You know what I mean? Like it's just been kind of.
Broke your arm a couple times.
Deadpool is a movie of excess, though. Most definitely. I don't know. I'm glad this movie wasn't like as many. I mean, like, I feel like the first movie was a lot of like lazy references. It kind of fucking felt like Family Guy, the movie. Like it was just kind of like Spice Girls. I know I always use that example, and he doesn't say that, but it felt very much like that. And it's kind of like that thing where like when your brain recognizes something out of context, like your neurons fire like right next to a place where your neurons fire when something's actually funny.
Oh, really?
So yes, so like in the theater, like there's a lot of people like like, you know, like it's just
or like it's that's why like cameos are sometimes funny.
Yes.
You're like, wait, I recognize that face. I know that person.
And that's not to say that I think there can be some references that are like very well planned and or whatever. Those are some of my favorite moments in movies. Like I definitely see that as humor, but sometimes I think Deadpool overplays it, and especially the first movie.
Use it as a crutch.
Now, that brings me to something that I really did like about Deadpool, which were its fucking cameos were awesome.
Yes.
It did have like, you know, fucking I can fucking spoil shit on this, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the people who are in it have been spoiled already. But.
So, with the Halle Berry sex scene. No, when
Jeez, I didn't think she'd come back and do that. Yeah,
yeah, it was really graphic too.
It's like monsters ball all over again. It was really
You know, but the like with like Brad Pitt as like the Vanisher.
That was one of the bigger laughs.
That was like perfect. It was like a motherfucker.
And then like, it is working on that sort of fourth wall level of like we're finding it ridiculous that Brad Pitt would be in it for just that little snippet and not even.
But there were so many like great other people that were like
Terry Crews, the guy who played it.
Bill Skarsgård was like Zeitgeist.
I didn't recognize
or whatever.
the other guy.
Who?
I don't know what his power. He was the alien. He said he was an alien.
Oh, I don't know.
I think that was just a douchebag that was set up to die.
But the regular guy,
Peter,
who was like Rob Delaney, and that's so well done. Again, like when we were watching the Deadpool
I wish
trailer,
they had hung out a little longer.
Oh, same. But like that was such a great scene. Like it's kind of the like getting the gang together kind of like trope. It even kind of at some point reminded me of like Mystery Men or something, just because of like how ridiculous everything was. And again, I almost thought the trailer like cut that kind of like, well, I don't really have any like powers or anything. And it's like, you're in, and it's supposed to like play off of the taxi driver kind of not having any powers, but then not letting him into the group or whatever. It got a little convoluted, but like the whole scene,
pretty funny, though.
Whole scene was great. And then the high winds was like a really great trope, just because Deadpool gets like caught in the billboard and then he looks up and everybody else is fucking flailing around.
I thought it would have been what I was hoping like that movie was gonna go was like Deadpool trying to do, first off, I wanted to see the girl who was like, I'm very lucky, get very roasted, like just immediately off the bat,
definitely,
right? And I mean, like, I guess I'm happy that she didn't, because she ended up being like kind of like a nice character in that.
Right.
But what I was hoping for was it was gonna be fucking like Deadpool, like halfway babysitting fucking Ned Flanders into like this victory.
Exactly.
That would have been
Flanders.
hysterical.
He should have been a character. I mean, I think they already greenlit. This sounds super excessive, but I think they already greenlit an X-Force movie, which I think might be a little bit over the top. Yeah, but I think they're gonna try to do something with like Domino, and I mean
they called themselves X-Force at the end. I mean, spoiler.
I don't want to see that
it's when they're in the plane. He says he doesn't want to. I don't want to do anything too like. I don't want to be
Right, but then
X-Men.
he keeps using X-Force throughout, and then even after half the people die in that sequence, new people get added, and he still calls it X-Force after that.
Right.
So it could be just the later squad that gets assembled.
Right. Yo, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's obviously not going to have like Brad Pitt in it, or but
I'm done with the fat New Zealand kid.
I
I
liked him.
He was not likable for one motherfucking second of that movie. He acted like a little bitch the whole time, and then fucking killed Deadpool.
It's a really great child performance.
Blew this dude's no. Blew this dude's Cable's chance at like seeing his family, and Cable's like, they're good now. It's like, dude, but it's like, here's my thing though. If Cable is stuck in the past, right, and
the Cable timeline kind of doesn't make sense.
Right, because that kid wouldn't exist in the first place. So by saving Deadpool, guess what, dumbass? You killed your daughter again, man, because she doesn't exist because you are in the past.
Yeah, that's true. You aren't there to...
You aren't there to fuck, man.
You're not there to bang again, bro.
Yeah. Way to go, Comcast, you idiot. Maybe that's why, like, the bloody bear is no longer bloody, because now it's just a regular fucking bear who didn't belong to fucking anybody except this grown-ass idiot who trapped himself back in time, trying to save someone who now doesn't exist because he fucked up his timeline.
There's a lot of plot machinations in this film.
Fucking bullshit.
But yeah, I honestly... Let's talk about... I kind of thought I was in for Deadpool 1, the fucking resurrection at the beginning of this film. It's very weak. It goes in media res again. And then it goes like
What's media res?
In media res means in middle of action. It's kind of like you're probably wondering how I got here. Like when he's kind of like laying on like the barrel or whatever. That's a film term. And then there's kind of like, oh, I'm globe-trotting assassin, where I'm going like to Japan, I'm going here, yada yada yada. None of those scenes really did it for me. And then there's Death of Girlfriend, which is a terrible scene too. And then there's like,
I thought it was great.
Okay, well then
I'm just joking.
Okay. and then there's like the first scene with Cable, which looks fucking ridiculous, and just like Josh Brolin's kind of like kneeling in front of like a green screen or something. Yeah. But then, after that, the movie kind of gains momentum. But all those first scenes, like, break it down. What did you want to say? Because I cut you off in the middle of that,
Going into this, I was a little excited just because I liked the idea of Deadpool. I think it's an interesting idea. I just think it was executed so poorly in the first one. And I wanted to like the first one. It was just so overrated, and we were just ignoring all the flaws that it had, that other superhero movies have, that it's trying to lampoon. It is the thing that it's lampooning in Deadpool. But all the early reviews that I read of this were that, like, it improves upon the flaws of Deadpool 1 and then amplifies the things that work about Deadpool 1. So I'm like, oh, great. Like, there's going to be no, like, stupid, unnecessary, nonlinear storytelling. There's going to be no, like, out-of-date references. The music's going to make sense.
They reference fucking dubstep, dude. They reference dubstep.
We'll get to that.
That was the...
What? Dude, dubstep wasn't a thing when this fucking movie came out. How are you asking if dubstep is still a thing in the future?
They sounded like fucking like Dave Grohl being like, Skrillex doesn't make real music. Yeah. It was just, it got like real bad.
I'm expecting all these things to have been...
I just haven't heard dubstep in forever.
No, it was...
The song they picked is from 2012, too.
Yes, The
Bangarang.
Bangarang by Skrillex, yeah.
Like, it's not even really a good representation of dubstep.
Is there such thing as a good representation of dubstep?
Some of like Skrillex's early singles were like what brought dubstep to the mainstream. Like,
I'm happy that
attention.
Weirdo isn't like a thing anymore, man. That dude looks like a
PC goblin. That's the thing now. Is he's like a major producer behind like a lot of like pop artists now.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
No, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so like, who do you think like does like Justin Bieber albums now?
Fergie.
Fergie's not a producer.
It smells like dog food now. Smell it and think dog food. Do you have a dog?
Okay.
Smell it.
No, it still smells fruity to me, and dog food's not fruity.
Oh, I only fed my dog Fruit Loops.
Oh, so that might... well, okay, yeah.
He died young too. So.
I fed my dog G-Joy, so just a bowl of G-Joy every morning.
He never walked super straight.
I fed my dog only Canadian Gold, and he killed himself immediately. He just hung himself on a leash. Sponsor us, Canadian Gold. We love your product.
To put him down.
My dog requested to be put down.
He bit the vet. He's like, I know you got this stuff in here, man.
Listen, I know you got that loud. I know you got that gas.
Canadian gold.
I know that Canadian gold is a thing on this planet, and I want to leave.
Oh boy, this is
on this realm.
I'm not doing a good job today, guys. I'm sorry.
We've gone on a worse tangent on the last episode.
Anyway, the point I'm just making is that you expect this to have fixed the flaws of the first, and then it jumps immediately back into all those flaws. Like, we're immediately in this unnecessary, non-linear storytelling arc of like, oh, you're probably wondering why I'm about to kill myself right here.
Yep.
And
the first one is him on the half the film takes place on just like, hey, I'm on an overpass about to jump into a truck. You're probably wondering how I got here. That's half the first movie. Mm-hmm. Luckily, him committing suicide or whatever.
It gets over with quick, so that is an improvement.
Yes.
It's only the first 15, 20 minutes.
I literally thought that was going to be the end of the movie. I was like, oh.
Oh, no, because that's technically how in media res works a lot of the time. Luckily, it happened 20 minutes into the film.
It's just so unnecessary. Like, what is it? It's really just, it's an excuse to have Deadpool narrating the movie, but then he doesn't really narrate for the rest of it.
No.
Like, it's just kind of Deadpool dialogue, which, is breaking the fourth wall, but it's not like, him being like, and then we went to this place, and we were doing this here.
At least this film feels, just commentating from our Deadpool review, at least this one feels a little more of its time. It commentates very frequently on like the fucking absurdity that we've reached with superhero films in theaters right now, whereas the first one felt like what I imagine like superhero movie looked like.
Mm-hmm. I can't believe that you guys... Oh, sorry.
Go for it.
I can't believe that you guys don't do this podcast on this gold couch there.
Oh, it's a beautiful couch.
With that thing on the back.
Like Canadian gold couch?
Get a little handsy.
Canadian gold couch, yeah. It's an antique.
Sorry. Oh, nice. It's in good shape. I have a grandma like that.
See,
yeah. She's
old and in shape.
You can't sit on her anymore. Yeah.
You can.
Yeah. You can. You'd break her though.
No, she's like,
she's sturdy. Let me be.
I just had a hip replacement.
Let me bang again.
I love you, Grandma.
Hayden, I don't know about you after I listened to this episode of How Many Fingers.
Always start
just
with
like
one.
your dad after listening to Logan Lucky.
I didn't need to know about your sex life.
Are you happy now, Grandma?
I didn't need to know that you lost your virginity to Click, the Adam Sandler movie. I expected so much more of you.
Honey, do you want to come be on this podcast? Come pull up the love seat.
Babe, I'm dying up here. Come.
So I thought that in the first Deadpool, the references were like outdated, and then in this one, some of them were almost like too specific. Like they're not going to make sense in a couple of years. Like he has the one joke about like Jared Kushner.
I like that.
It's funny now,
like
but it's not going to age
right.
well.
Yeah.
And it's like they took our complaint of the first movie of like, okay, these are all jokes that would have made sense in like 2012, 2010 maybe, and now they took jokes that like would work on like SNL like any week now, but they're not going to make sense in a couple of years when this comes out on DVD.
Well, I don't know. Trump seems pretty historic, right?
Jared Kushner though, I don't like this. Just
it's
a specific.
true.
It's a look of a person.
Yes. We have a new guest joining us. Would you like to state your name and social security number, and credit card number, and address and mother's maiden name?
Well, my mother's maiden name is
It's a security question.
Big, no!
I'm not going to finance our shit together.
But you went with Hayden to go see Deadpool 2. What did you think of it?
Well, the trailer was a little off-putting. It said, brought to you by the studio who gave you 27 dresses and the Devil Wears Prada.
Oh, yeah, that was tongue-in-cheek, though. Did you...
Oh.
What?
Was it?
No, it wasn't.
I didn't watch the thing. Here, drink some of this, honey. If you're on the thing, you got to drink the Bankers Club.
Bankers Club. Bankers Gold.
Drink it. Chug.
Don't make
It was very...
Take a big one, honey.
Don't make her drink
Show
it.
that. No,
There's no peer pressure on this podcast.
Okay,
There is now. She can drink whiskey. Go ahead.
What are your thoughts on Canadian Gold?
Big swig.
You don't have to drink anymore.
Yeah, you do. Oh, she'll crush it. She's a fucking G.
It's not like great.
It's the worst thing I've ever tasted.
You're getting a lot of text.
That's me. I'm probably gonna.
Oh, that's you. Okay.
Fuck him.
You're supposed to play a show today, Hayden. Where are you? The crowd's here.
Hold on, cover for me, honey.
Oh fuck.
I'm dead, fellow. I feel like I just sniffed Altoids.
Oh god.
Yeah. What did you think of this though? It's not great, right?
Deadpool or
I mean, it's interchangeable. No, honestly, this whiskey's a lot worse than this movie.
I didn't even realize Canadian Gold kind of makes sense because Ryan Reynolds is Canadian.
it hurts my chest.
Oh, they made a Canadian joke.
They did, yeah.
They did.
Where's your chest, honey?
It's poison.
Here's the thing. I like
Canadian Gold. It's poison.
I like Ryan Reynolds.
He's very charming.
He's super likable, but if you're gonna play a burn victim, I'm sure there are funnier burn victims than Ryan Reynolds. You
Also-
can save a bunch on makeup and actor.
Yes. Yeah. Also,
Well, it is his passion project. Like, he's the one pushing to make Deadpool happen.
I've
Really?
never.
That explains a lot. I would come from the guy from Van Wilder.
Apparently, I think when they published like the first Deadpool comic or something, they explained like what he looked like saying
You guys keep talking.
that he looked like
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. Yeah.
Mixed with like a Sharpay or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
They
But-
said Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah. No.
Yeah, that's where the whole thing
they name checked
started.
Deadpool.
It's from the 90s.
Honey, you got... They were talking about Ryan Reynolds in the 90s?
We're just doing some redecorating
Yeah. I
here.
guess when was Ryan Reynolds first?
He was on a sitcom, I feel like.
Oh, the
We
pizza.
decided to
The
drag it
pizza
over.
simcom.
Simcom.
Simcom. The
Oh, this is
simulation.
way better.
The pizza simulation.
I
Here's
think
the
Van Wilder was his first big thing because the pizza one was like late 90s to like 2001 maybe, and then like Van Wilder was like 2002 or 2003.
But here's my thing. Did you notice that Deadpool's dialogue was like so much sharper when like he had his mask on, kind
Yeah.
of?
He had his
Like,
mask off way
there-
too much in this movie compared
well,
to the first one.
Wait, he
Ugly
had his
motherfucker.
mask on way
Off.
too much? Off? Really?
They
'Cause
showed his face too much,
I
I
kind of
thought.
thought it was the opposite because like there was, I think with his mask on, they were able to do so much ADR. They were able to do so much like punching up of like the script. And honestly, it kind of works because Ryan Reynolds is like low key a really great like voice actor. And like I don't know why he isn't on like the same path as somebody like Will Arnett who's doing like Lego Batman, or like Ryan Reynolds should have his own like BoJack Horseman or something. You know,
Has
like
he done voice acting yet?
he was like, I was looking it up. He's done like, oh, like in Turbo, I was a snail or something. Like, you know, like it was fucking like he should be doing more is what I'm saying. He should be doing more like tongue in cheek kind of stuff.
I feel like Ryan Reynolds is like a very particular character though.
He is.
Like kind of all the way through. I think he like kind of like typecasts himself in the best way
He
possible.
is just Ryan Reynolds. in most
Very
movies that
talking
he-
out of the corner of his mouth kind of guy. Have you guys ever seen Just Friends? Let me tell you about
Have
Just
you heard
Friends.
the good word of Just Friends?
Have you heard the Just
like that
Friends?
movie?
Just Friends is a romantic comedy from like 2006 or I think it's from 2006, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Sounds great.
It's a really great film, and Ryan Reynolds kills it. Him, Amy Smart,
Oh, is that where he's a fat dude in the
yes.
beginning and he comes back and he's
Anna
real
Faris.
good looking?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Oh. Well, you know.
I hated that movie, but Joe, I still respect your opinion. Thank you, Hayden.
Well, I don't know. I
Thank
wasn't
you.
gonna say that, man. I'm fucking, the click thing kind of buried me on that. The 2006-ish romantic comedies.
I had sex with Just Friends. Go on.
Oh, it all comes out now. That's why it's your favorite movie.
No, it's way before that. No.
The problem with if
Found out that they were more than friends.
if he had been fat and like weird and then turned into Will Ferrell, all right, like he still has something to overcome. But you fucking turn into Ryan Reynolds, man. You're
But
pretty
that's-
good across the board.
That's part of the joke, I think, even in this, in Just Friends and Deadpool, is he's an incredibly handsome man. Ryan Reynolds, obviously. We'd all have sex with him.
Not so much in Deadpool.
Yes,
would all-
yes.
Let me bang again.
No. I
You would
would
ask
do it, I'm
Ryan
saying.
Reynolds, "Let me bang again."
Honey, would you do it? Would you
would-
have sex with Ryan Reynolds?
You would be like,
It's
"Let me bang," and then you'd start to cry and be like, "Let me bang." But
Answer the question, honey.
baby,
Much peer pressure on this podcast.
But I think the joke of Just Friends is that he becomes like a fucking really unattractive fat suit guy, and he's really great at acting within the fat suit to this very handsome guy. And then Deadpool he's kind of this handsome guy who becomes this burn victim looking
Mutilated
guy.
guy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Burn victims, man.
What? So that's
You
in
got
my
a
face?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know how we got here.
How did we get to Deadpool 2
How did
being a
we-
movie?
Yeah. No.
So Ryan Reynolds.
This
is
made a ton of
handsome.
money. I mean, the first Deadpool made a ton of money, and that's why it made a fuck ton of money. It was
On
incredibly
a relatively small
popular.
budget. It was what, like $65 million
Yes.
for the budget? Something small?
Jesus
Small
Christ,
budget.
dude.
For a superhero movie.
if
And it
someone-
shows
It was
in Deadpool.
out of control.
If someone gave me
profit.
$65 million to do anything, I guarantee you I could do a great job.
I would not make Deadpool 2 if that was the case.
Oh, that was Deadpool 1. Deadpool 2, I'm sure, had a way bigger budget.
What do you mean? There's low budget, high grossing. I would do a sequel. I would do it fucking triple.
Budget for Deadpool 2, $110 million.
And it does show. It looks
I mean,
it looks way
Is
better.
Deadpool 3 in production?
Oh, most definitely.
It's got to be, right?
They haven't announced it, but it's happening.
They had a scene
I
at
mean,
the end of the movie.
The after credits scene definitely.
We left.
We
We left. I didn't think about
Did
that.
she
I should
come,
have stayed.
did she come back? Did she
Yes,
resurrect?
so he has his sort of X-Men friends,
Bring his girlfriend back to life?
like
they fix Cable's
they
like,
fix
time
Cable's
thing.
time travel device. And
Oh,
then-
and he gets
so
his
did
girlfriend
Cable
back?
get his family
yes,
back?
he goes back, saves his girlfriend, and then he goes back and he saves what's his name?
Who?
Oh, you guys missed some of the best content in this movie. He saves
The guy was like, "Are you sure?" Like the usher was outside. He was like, "Yo, are you sure you guys don't
wanna
want to
leave?
stay?" And I was like, "Nah, fuck that. I gotta go
Did-
somewhere."
the regular ass guy who skydives.
Peter.
Yeah.
He saves Peter,
Oh,
and then
fuck!
no. Not only that, he goes back in time and he goes to one of the X-Men like Wolverine movies, and there
You
was
save Logan?
no. There was an interpretation of Deadpool in one of those movies, and Deadpool shows up and shoots him in the head, and then he goes back to Ryan Reynolds in like the early 2000s, finishing the script of Green Lantern, and says like, "You made it to the big leagues, kid," and like holding the Green Lantern skit, and then Deadpool comes up behind him and shoots him in like the forehead, and like Ryan Reynolds' brains like splatter all over the desk. It's a bunch of like really great scenes.
That's where like the meta really works for me. I think.
Yes.
Like, that's when it's like-
yeah.
That's what we missed, dude.
Yes,
I thought we were gonna like come on some like fucking
No.
like dork
Like when
cliffhanger
they break
shit.
God damn when they
Some
break the
fucking
fourth
dork-
wall without
Yeah.
being like, "Hey, audience, we're talking directly to you." Like when they can just give us these meta references
Right.
that we understand, and they're going to be somewhat timeless because they're in this universe that we understand
Fuck.
very well.
Did Cable's daughter get her teddy bear back?
They didn't show us that.
She's still a burn
Well,
victim,
I mean
she's
that
dead.
that starts to show when
Wait, did they
when-
save Cable? Cable's family?
Well, that's the thing is that it is
Dude.
they
I
say-
literally told that usher, "Nah, we don't want to save this."
Nah, bro, I don't want to bang again.
Nah, bro, I don't want to bang again.
No, he was like, "Do you want to stay?" I was like, "Nah, it's all right." I thought literally what I is that what I said to him?
He almost approached us as if he was like a bouncer. Like,
He was like, "You guys should
You
definitely
guys old enough to be
stay."
in here.
he was like,
You guys old enough to leave this movie?
yeah.
You got to stay here till you age up. No, but they save Cable's family when the teddy bear that he's clipped to like
No,
the back of his belt loop,
I got that
utility
joke.
belt. Back to the Futures, you know.
Yeah, but he was.
You just know that?
Yeah, when the teddy bear
Jesus.
becomes
I didn't even
unburnt.
see Deadpool 1. I didn't even know Deadpool had
Leave her
cancer.
alone.
I didn't know
Yeah.
Deadpool had cancer.
It's kind of hard to tell from.
Everyone throws up. It didn't have to be cancer.
Right, yeah, he could just be sad he's in jail.
He could have just been sick
just
to his
been
stomach.
anxious.
Some Canadian gold.
There was another scene where like the jail guard kind of like pushes him into his cell, and he like lands on his face, and then there's a close up of him turning around, like laying on the floor, and then he's talking back and forth with the kid, like the New Zealand kid, and then they go to like a establishing shot that's going to end the scene, and Deadpool's laying in bed like this, and then the kid's still talking, and I was like, that's a continuity error. It didn't fuck up a lot. I was just curious if anyone else saw that.
Is there any reason like that kid was from New Zealand? Is that ever like?
His name is Russell.
Okay, is there any reason that Russell is from New Zealand? Did they establish that? And also, how did he immediately deduce that Russell was from New Zealand? It didn't really seem like that a conversation about it. Suddenly he was like, he's from New Zealand like 3 times.
Picking up that accent.
Is Russell a common name?
I have one of my best friends is from New Zealand, and
he just sounds British at first because he doesn't have that many lines. Like really all he's saying is like fuck off, and that's all we really get from him. I like the Russell character.
Fuck
No,
Russell.
I did not like Russell.
No, I thought he was funny. I thought he gave a good
You little
performance.
bitch.
I thought
fuck that, honey.
he brought up some good points about like we really don't get like
A plus
large
size.
plus size like
exactly.
You know what?
superheroes.
I'll
And
give
I
him
like
And I
that.
really, I really like him in terms of in
I
the
did like how
X-Men
he
universe, where like it is this kind of like metaphor for like puberty and like you're going through all these changes that you don't understand, and like he really got across like the rage of that. Where I don't feel like because they haven't been in R-rated movies before, they haven't really been able to do that in the other X-Men movies.
But when they, jump ahead to the future, he isn't a plus size villain.
Oh, he looks good.
He got in shape for
I
that.
wish he looked hotter.
Are you saying that because he's on fire?
No. I'm saying I wish.
You make
I
a
wish.
really
I wish.
unintentional pun.
I wish they spent the money.
His whole thing is.
I
that
wish
he's
they
hot.
spent the Brad Pitt money to make him like Jason Momoa or something.
The Brad. I bet you Brad Pitt didn't
the
even
guy
get
from Game
fucking
of
paid for
Thrones?
this.
Yeah, that's the guy from Game of Thrones.
Daenerys'
Do you think Brad Pitt
first
even
husband.
filmed that scene?
What?
Do you think Brad Pitt filmed that scene, or they just
I
took
think-
a
I
picture?
Green
think-
screen entirely. I think Ryan Reynolds and like Blake Lively are like.
Well, even if
this
it's not
hot-
great, did
I
they
think
even
they're
film him in
fucking
front of a green
friends with-
screen, or did they just take a picture of Brad Pitt?
Oh
and
no! I
Photoshop it?
think he did some
Because
sort
it's
of
so
reaction.
quick.
I bet you
I
he
bet
was
he, like-
fucking at the studio one day, and they
Yeah,
were like, "Yo,
yes,
you want to be in this movie? Like, you want to make the cameo? Like,
Right.
it'll be
I'm
perfect."
sure Ryan Reynolds and Brad Pitt are friends because
Do you think they fuck?
I don't think Ryan Reynolds is at that level yet, but he might work his way to being.
They probably banged once, and now Ryan has to.
Let
be
me
like,
bang,
"Let me
bro."
bang again."
I literally last night watched something where like speaking of Jason Momoa and the actress that plays Daenerys, who is about to be in the upcoming Solo
Emilia Clarke.
movie. Yeah, she was doing some sort of like charity event where she was like, oh, like spend a night like watching like Game of Thrones with her, kind of, or whatever.
Yeah.
And Brad Pitt was like obsessively like
He
putting
bid up
in like kind of like
$120,000.
and but she got like her friend to like do more than he did or whatever.
I don't think
But
that's what
I'm sure
happened.
Brad Pitt was like,
No. She was fucking stoked on that. Apparently, I read.
oh no
something about that.
no, I mean like I would have been like, my friend, what are you doing? Like, I want to fuck Brad Pitt.
No,
And
I
that's
think,
just
I think,
me.
like, I think it
That's
was a
not a
fucking
mil-
rando
Yeah.
who fucking outbid Brad Pitt.
Oh, I think it was her friend. I think it was like
Really?
an assigned friend who was trying to prevent a rando from getting in.
Who
But
always had a
I
crush
don't.
on her
You're right.
secretly.
I don't
Well,
think.
that's fucked because that rando idiot outbid Brad Pitt.
Right. She was about. I
mean,
mean,
if Brad Pitt is ever
I'm
bidding for
sure
it, I'm
she
gonna let
can
you have
call
it.
up Brad Pitt and get it.
You think?
I hope
she's
so.
got to go through Angelina.
I think
right?
she's well.
they
They're
They're
broken up.
divorced, no?
Oh wow.
Wait, okay, are they?
I'm
What's
not
their
really into
legal
movies.
status? Are they?
What's up?
Are they divorced?
Yeah,
or-
I think they're divorced. They're officially divorced. Yeah.
They're
Wow.
co-parenting, probably.
I was reading an article in that Cosmopolitan on the table.
Yeah.
She did an interview with John Kerry.
That's good.
Wait, like John Kerry?
Like Angelina Jolie and John Kerry did an interview in a hotel room.
Like John Kerry.
Like senator
Hot.
Oh wow. That's
or
crazy.
whatever he is now.
Kind of gets me worked up.
How does Brad feel about that?
I don't know.
Do you guys want another beer?
I still have more.
I'm good on this one.
All right, cool.
I'm also like getting to the point where I might derail your podcast a little bit if I keep drinking it.
It has been derailed already. So I mean, you guys didn't see the first Deadpool.
I
What's
think I did
is his
see.
superpower that he doesn't die?
Yeah, he.
And then he's like athletic.
Well, it's
Yeah, I guess he has sort of. I don't know if it's
this-
super strength. It's just he can't die and he can't
It's
really
this
be hurt.
fictitious
Like
take
he has
on
like excess vitamin K that like just
right.
like,
It's
gives him-
it's this fictitious take on you have stage 4 cancer and we have this very experimental study, and the experimental study is
We burn you terribly.
it
How did he get burned?
With fire.
because the fictitious
anything
experimental study is that they're essentially injecting like mutant kind of cells like that the X-Men have into them, and then Ryan Reynolds somehow I think burns down the whole facility.
It's basically. I mean, they're torturing
Yeah.
them, is what they're doing through this
Right.
procedure.
Do either of you guys smoke cigarettes?
Occasionally.
Sounds like a job by Putin.
Oh, I don't feel like you probably have one then.
Oh no, neither of us. I don't. Yeah, I did on my birthday, and I really regret it. It was like the first time in a long time.
Let me bang, bro.
Okay.
What I was trying to say is like in Deadpool 1, like I could not stand the relationship between Deadpool and Ness. They call her. I guess it's Vanessa.
Oh, I hate.
Who's that?
Oh, wait, the wife, the
Marina
girlfriend.
Baccarin.
Oh, she had like the corniest lines in the entire movie.
She was really poorly written in this. She was a little better written in the first one, but it was just still so like I just wanted to vomit every time they were on screen.
Oh, same.
In the
I'm
first
so glad
one.
they killed her.
But you know what? Great apartment.
Yeah, really good apartment.
Yeah, you know, for being like really,
dirt poor like they are in the first movie.
it's so confusing because now he is this globe-trotting, like world-renowned assassin, and they still have this dirt poor apartment, and they're
Well, I mean, how much
they're still
money-
getting sentimental gifts to each other. I feel like they should be in a larger bracket, kind of.
How much money can
top.
you really give like an international assassin and keep him on the DL though? Like that's like the thing. Like you can give him
I don't
like
know. When he got into jail, the one guy
Yeah, why
came
didn't
up
they help
and was
him?
like,
Oh, I
hey
guess
man, like
not for
I
him.
hear you're the biggest baddest motherfucker in here.
Yeah, but then he punched him in the face a lot.
Right. And then I don't completely understand why his name was Black something.
No, I didn't get that either.
And then like they
Made
took
it-
that joke and made another joke
just
off of
dragged
it. That
it,
yeah. It's not like I still didn't appreciate the ongoing joke that Josh Brolin was racist. I don't know. I thought that was kind of funny,
Wait,
but like
what?
it didn't totally make sense because Josh Brolin.
I heard them say like
Josh
something
Brolin-
about
So his like prison nickname is Black something.
Josh Brolin.
No,
The guy with the dreadlocks.
the larger,
Yeah, okay,
the
yeah.
white man with dreadlocks, and then Josh Brolin kills him, and then Deadpool's thing from then on is that he's
he killed his black friend.
racist. Yeah, it's kind of a joke that doesn't make sense, but it works a little. But it's I don't know.
There's enough. I mean, we all got it. I think in the context of everything.
I like that they called.
I can't believe you don't like that kid though. I thought he was.
Is
really...
he the same
fuck
kid
him.
in that show Modern Family?
No.
No. Wait, but is he the? I'm
He's
not.
like 30 now.
I'm not looking it up, but is he the same kid from like the Wilder People film?
I think he is.
Why don't you look that up?
I think you are right.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, I just don't. Fuck
The only
with him.
reason I understood
he was
that-
not reasonable at any fucking point in time.
He did sound like Diane Wood or something. That's the only
He
reason I
sounded
thought
like
he
fucking
was.
Roseanne, dude.
Wait, is Roseanne New
Nah.
Zealandish?
No, just bitching, just whining all the time.
Yeah, Julian
He's
Dennison.
He's like, no
Hunt for
one
the
gets
Wilder
me,
People.
and then like Deadpool's like, I get you, man. He's like, but
You
no
don't.
one gets me, and he's
It's
like,
teenage angst.
Except for
He's
this like
fucking Deadpool,
oversized
man. That's
guy.
adult angst. Way more angsty. You
He's
know
an
how
orphan.
how
He's
much
an
it takes to.
orphan.
Deadpool's a fucking burned out like cancer victim, man. Like I can't.
Who's
think of,
immortal?
and whose
which is
wife
another problem in
and
this
whose
film.
girlfriend wife just died
True.
after
Which
perceivably
there's also
conceiving.
no stakes over. I feel like there's no
Yeah.
real total remorse that his. Honestly, like all those scenes that I named before, like yada 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 yada. This film doesn't. Yes, those are the great films. I mean, the scenes yada 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 yada. This film doesn't become enticing until he gets to the X-Men mansion. That's when this film picks up. and it
I like
starts
that
to
he
get
was
funny.
in the wheelchair. That was pretty.
Oh right, he's in the Professor X wheelchair.
That is when it starts to get funny. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Never seen
And
X-Men.
Well, going back to like the thing with like Vanessa, like it's really hard to like insert heart into a movie like this because I feel like not enough is like fully established yet. Like they really ham-fisted it in the first one where it was like this kind of irreverent humor that he had all the time. He was always sarcastic and cynical, and then we're supposed to like buy that he's like so invested in this one relationship, and it just doesn't really fit with his character. And then in this movie, we're just supposed to like buy on what was established in the first movie, and they insert even more emotional moments in this though. Like all the times when he would go to like the afterlife thing and trying to be like getting through the door.
It's not a real plant.
I know that's why
It's very plastic.
Like it reminded me of like it'd be like if you had like an episode of Scrubs in like the first 3 episodes where Dr. Cox had like a really emotional moment. Like you need to have a bunch of episodes where Dr. Cox is an asshole and it's established, and then it's a bigger payoff when he has that sort of emotional turn and you're like, oh, Dr. Cox does have a heart. Or like in The Office, like if
Dr. Cox is one of my favorite characters.
he's
of all
great.
time, yeah.
Or if Dwight Schrute like had like a really emotional moment like 2 episodes in, like we need to have a couple seasons of Dwight Schrute being the asshole to Jim, even though we've discussed in this podcast Jim is an asshole to Dwight.
Jim
too.
is an asshole.
But I mean, you need to have that established for that emotional turn to have any real weight to it. Whereas in this, it's just kind of like they ham-fist it in the first one without really establishing anything, and then they just keep jamming it in there in this one where it's like
I think they
feel sorry for Deadpool, even though like he doesn't take anything seriously, so it's like nothing matters in this movie.
There's no stakes, but then I think they embrace having no stakes, which is kind of the point of this film. It doesn't, and that's the fucked up thing is, right? Like this movie makes fun of all sort of like superhero cliches, kind of. And then they start out this film and they want you to invest emotionally in one of the biggest superhero cliches of all time, where it's like, somebody killed my wife, kind of.
I don't think that's cliche.
It's pretty cliche in the
I'm
superhero.
totally joking.
Okay.
It's like literally.
Yeah. Even in action movies, kind of, you know, and they want us to take it seriously. And honestly, by the end, and there is this reoccurring scene where he's trying to get through to her, and there is like this invisible wall or whatever. I kind of like that stuff. I kind of fucking like that stuff, and that kind of makes me fucking feel something by the end.
See, I think the sentimental
what was
parts.
The song that they did a cover of at the end?
Take on. It was like an acoustic of "Take on Me."
Yeah, take on me. I like. Listen, I fucking hate this. I don't know. I hate the way that they write this fucking love interest or whatever. But yeah, there is something about that kind of reoccurring scene that I do enjoy. It works for me.
I think it undercuts the more like sarcastic, funny parts of the movie, and then the funny, sarcastic parts undercut the sentimental parts. So you just kind of have like two halves of this movie that aren't working because they're fighting against
definitely.
each other.
I have a pretty heavy hang up actually.
Go for it.
In like the first like scenes or whatever, they're like, and here's the evil guy, Surge. And like that's the dude who like
happens to
shoots
him?
his wife, but I feel like there's
Oh, he got hit by a bus.
well, he gets hit by a bus, but like they kind of don't. Did he end up?
They're
in,
random
like,
gangsters. They're random gangsters that
I thought
think
that dude was
Deadpool-
gonna have like a way more profound place in like this
Yeah.
plot
But
than just.
I think
like-
they were trying to not play into that cliche, which is ironic because they play
Well, why
into
the
all
fuck
these other
not
cliches.
at, like that
right?
point,
Yeah.
right? Like, why not just make it like this dude killed my wife, so now I'm trying to kill him? Why not be like this dude killed my wife? There, I killed him. Now to Cable. You know?
I think they could have hammed up. I thought that was really clever, and they had a very big missed opportunity of when he catches up with the guy who killed his wife, and then he hugs him. And they don't spend enough time on that. Where, like, if Deadpool hugged him and kind of had this big, long, emotional scene or something, and then they get hit by the bus, kind of, I think that would have... I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was supposed to be. Was
he was
supposed to
trying
be
to
misleading the
Like a-
audience? Or
Yes, he
misleading...
was supposed to be misleading the audience / kind of... If you're immortal and you fucking embrace somebody while a fucking bus is coming at you full speed, like
Well,
you
he hugs him
obviously
and
know
then he
he's gonna-
swings
yes.
into the way of the bus.
Oh, no,
Like, I don't know what
definitely.
the initial hug was about.
I thought that
was,
whole
it was
thing
supposed to be a punchy kind of joke, kind of.
I thought that was him like trying to like futilely like display his like depressiveness by like attempting to kill himself, even though he was like already immortal.
Oh,
that's how I read that.
I think that was just a missed punchline.
Which actually brings me to another problem that I have with this movie, which is it falls into the worst action movie cliche for me. The one-liner at the expense of killing the person, just ending the fucking movie. There was like a whole bunch of times with like a whole bunch of different people that it was just like, yo man, just don't say anything witty, just shoot that dude. And like,
and they always have to
and then it's done. You got what you want, like that dude's dead now. Like,
I mean, that is kind of Deadpool's whole shtick, is like he's making fun of what he actually is. Like, and it's like I was reading a good article, I think it was in the New York Times, weird publication right now, but it was a pretty good review of the movie where they were talking about the context of Deadpool the comic, where like when it came out, it was one of those things where it was like it was making fun of superheroes, but you had to know enough about superheroes to get the jokes. So it was kind of like it was lampooning it for fans of superheroes. So you had to be a superhero fanboy in order to, you know, make fun of the rest of superhero like, comics that you're reading.
The hang up comes in that if like this dude is like, I'm going to lie down on like 8 bottles of like crazy high test fuel and like blow myself up because I'm so upset about this. Like, how many jokes are you trying to make in that particular instance? Also being that guy, like, how can you have like that like dichotomy of like personalities in that moment?
Yeah, I mean, this movie will do anything for a joke, and they're trying to insert as many jokes as possible, and some of them land. I feel like not as many fell flat as for me in Deadpool 1, and that's kind of where I have like a sort of overall enjoyment. If I just kind of like let go of like my view on like the sentimental parts and just view it through the lens that I think Deadpool wants to be viewed as, which is just like
comedy movie.
Just fun and entertainment, and just kind of like none of this matters. So just like enjoy it however you want to enjoy it. I think if you view it through that lens, it's an okay movie. It's entertaining.
I think
it's not the worst thing you've ever seen.
I think it was fun
like
when
George
they made
Costanza's wife dying in Seinfeld. You know, like it's just kind
it
of
didn't matter.
yeah.
I think it was pretty fun when they made the metal dude say "fuck" at the end of the movie.
Yeah, there were some good punchlines.
I really like I like
that were returning on character building they did in the first one.
He's wearing a bandana all tied up. They're trying to jump his razor scooter down this stuff. You guys go. I'm gonna watch this kid eat it once.
Yeah, no, I did like the parts with, because he is like the moral compass. What is his name?
Colossus.
That's fucking what it is. He is like a kind of A-list X-Men, kind of, at least from the 90s or whatever.
I feel like his animation still looks kind of bad though.
I
right, like he just it was bad in the first one, but they didn't have the budget. But he just looks the same in this one. They didn't improve him at all.
I much like the I much more like the Juggernaut kind of interpretation in this movie than the whatever X-Men movie had the Juggernaut interpretation in it. Yeah.
Juggernaut looks like that character from Doctor Who. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
No.
Does anyone watch Doctor Who?
I do, but I haven't seen all of it, so I'm not totally caught up.
Disappointing.
You know what's funny, man? Like that kid playing with like the rocks out there. Like, I know that kid is sober as a fucking bird, but if I saw like an adult doing that, I'd be like, wow, what drugs is he on? Like, it's only like a 5-year
childhood.
Separation. Yeah, I'm high on childhood. That's nice. I'm high on going outside. Anywho,
I do like the what's it called? Yeah, the Colossus kind of, because he is like the moral compass of like the last movie and this movie, and he's trying to do like the right thing for the X-Men and himself. He even sends Deadpool to prison, or icebox, which is like borderline like a death sentence, like for somebody like Deadpool or whatever. But I do like the end. Even there could have been more legwork done in this movie to be like, oh,
he's kind of just like, gone and then he comes back at the end.
Why even really take his superpower?
Wait, what?
Why even take Deadpool's superpower?
Because he's in a high security prison. And I think all that prison was exclusively for mutants.
I guess like if he. Well, I forgot that they had like the general population thing. I'm like, if he's in a cell, like, what is he gonna do? Like, not die in that cell, you know?
Well, he could do enough damage to the cell walls because he can't die to get out or whatever. I mean, crazier things have happened.
It is weird that they are in the X-Men universe again, because like the X-Men is this kind of like, they even reference it. It's like X-Men comics were this kind of like 60s metaphor for racism in America, kind of, you know?
I did really like the fact that they were like, why is this fucking house always empty? Can the studio give us like one?
Yes.
And then like real quietly, like all the major X-Men were in like the other room and they just shut the door.
All right, yeah.
That was probably my favorite part of that movie.
I was telling Mike earlier, it's one of the dumbest fucking jokes, but like when he gets her like the skee ball token, just these like weird small sentimental gifts, and then she has a ring box and it has like her IUD in it, and he's like, what is this? She's like, it's my IUD, and he's like, you made a bomb? And like he thought it was IED.
I think I've said the exact same thing to her.
Right? Yes. It was just funny. It's a really good. And that's the thing. This is the thing I was fucking saying about like the fucking like your brain going off about like, man, there's references and then there's like actually well-told jokes, and I thought that was like that was one of those well-told
I thought you were giving that as an example of a bad joke.
Oh no, I like that joke. That's one of my favorite jokes in this movie. They have a lot of good jokes in this
one.
Made
me cringe a little.
The like where my brain went to is like when I saw that, I knew what it was when I saw it.
Right, no, like, everyone, yeah.
I was like, oh, she's going on some very permanent birth control. I guess they're about to have some fun. Like that's what they're thought never the present was.
They're taking the next step in their relationship, which is a relationship of two irresponsible people in this kind of steady, or like these two. You know,
I'm an assassin
people,
who like has people go after my family. I couldn't see what would be wrong with having a vulnerable child. That's silly.
I don't know.
I felt like in the editing, they got really lazy sometimes, where they would overuse the sort of ploy of like action scene starts and then all the sound cuts out and it's like a really quiet emotional song that like doesn't really fit with what's going on.
Can we talk
it would be
about
like
the Annie song?
The Annie one, there's like a Celine Dion one or something at some point.
It got really the Annie
but they did it
song
like 5
fucking,
times. With like,
did you notice that there was during
the
like
air out of it? Yeah.
The big fight scene, there was that like doo 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 like kind of music.
Holy
and it was
fuck
going,
balls or
holy
shit balls.
I thought it was pretty funny because I don't think anyone else in like that whole theater fucking heard that, because like no one was laughing, and I was like, yo, this is like maybe the funniest thing that they did in here.
It was also like a bunch of like, it was like a hodgepodge of like different musical montages in this movie thrown together. Like they could never just create like one scene. Like the one scene that with like the dubstep one, like even if you're gonna pick a song from 2012 to represent dubstep in a 2018 movie, like dubstep's moved much further than like Bangarang by Skrillex.
I think
since 2012, so we could pick a better representation for it. But
it's just a bad joke for this year too.
They threw a 2012 Kendrick Lamar song in there too.
They had a bunch of it. Like they had like Thunderstruck by AC/DC, which
that goes vintage.
Yeah, that works.
That's such an overused song though. For
that's
like
how I felt.
Moments.
Yeah, that's how I felt about that.
And they weren't even making fun of themselves doing it. That's how you felt about the Take On Me, or
no, Enya. When the car is like in the bridge, it's completely overused in like films and kind of like slow motion scenes.
I felt like they just kept trying to like either cover up editing mistakes with like these different like musical changes, or they just didn't know how to keep the pace of this movie going. And they just kept changing the pace.
How much money do you think it saves a production team to cover up a whole bunch of like what the hell do they call that fucking
continuity error?
No. Where the people make like the sounds watching like the
Foley.
Screen. Yeah. How much money do you think the studio saves in taking one of those fight scenes and just like
putting music over it? So
but
then doesn't have to be as much like attention to detail kind of.
You know how fucking psyched Enya must have been to like have her music license in that fucking block?
Yeah.
She had to make a couple $100,000 at least.
Yeah. Add some more security to her castle in Ireland.
I did kind of like that reoccurring joke of like the Barbra Streisand's like Yentl sounding like Frozen. Like that was funny.
That was fun.
Yeah,
because that was one song, but they kept doing it with different songs with the slow motion stuff. But with the dubstep one, it was like they had the punchline of like, oh, careful there. They had the punchline of like, what is Josh Brolin's character Cable says something about dubstep, like it's for pussies or something like that. And, and Deadpool's basically like, I like dubstep, something like that.
Oh,
and then
he say that? Yeah.
He says something affirmative about dubstep, and then the dubstep song starts playing, and it only plays for like 30 seconds, and then they just cut it out, and it cuts to like a really lame like score, and then they go back to just like regular or whatever. And it's like that would have been a nice scene, even that bad music choice aside, if they had just stuck and rode that song out for a full montage. But it just keeps being like, all right, here's 30 seconds of one song for one comedic moment, and then we're switching gears, and we're gonna go over here and do this slow motion thing, and then we're gonna go to this holy shit balls choir singing over here. And they couldn't create like an actual full scene out of any of these like musical jokes they were trying to do.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm glad that Deadpool's last lines weren't from Frozen.
Yes. I mean, overall though, I had a really negative response to the first Deadpool, and I don't know whether it's just me endearing Deadpool as a character, but I enjoyed myself a lot more in this movie than I did the first Deadpool.
I think this one's easier to just like let go.
Yes. I understand if this is your first Deadpool movie that you're like, I don't know, I don't like this kind of thing. But for me, this is my second Deadpool movie that I'm seeing in theaters, and I'm kind of like, is there somebody over here?
I walked too far before I did the
Oh, darn it. I don't know. I was able to endure this movie a lot more than I was able to endure the first movie.
See, you shouldn't have to endure the movie. You know what I mean? Like, that's
Oh my god. You know, honestly, I wasn't gonna say this, but I mean, from this podcast, I have like intense just superhero fatigue, and especially after,
oh my god, I'm
yeah,
sure.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, we see all the superhero movies, and especially after like the Avengers, like Infinity War one, I don't know if I saw that, if I didn't see that movie and then I saw this, I'd not like that, but like I was just kind of like, I'd fucking so sick of superheroes. Like maybe this kind of dumb fucking Family Guy lazy references the movie.
Yeah.
Maybe this speaks to me in some like dumb dog whistle tone. Like, you know, like it's fucking stupid, but like at least part of me is like, my god damn it, we do have too many superhero movies, and like any satire about those or anybody willing to question those movies has some place in my heart. Like kind of like it was just. And again, this movie also, we were talking about this off mic, the first movie was very like kind of referential of the comics, which were like chimichangas and like my stuffed unicorn animal kind of. That's also like, if I could just go out there and say like, I now hate, I don't know if I said
chimichangas and stuffed unicorns.
Yes, exactly. I don't know if I said this during the Marvel Avengers movie, but I literally hate like the critique that like, oh, this is just like a comic book, or this isn't like a comic book, because it's a medium that has existed since the early 1900s. Like we've had a ton of fucking really weird racist comic books, and we've had a ton of like weird like. There's nothing that's like actually embodies comic books. Like we need to stop using that as this weird like, you know, is this actually like the comic book or is this not? Because again, even through decades, like Deadpool's from the 90s and we have completely different comic books today. Like we have to stop referencing comic books as source material, because it's a really bad source material and we all think of it as different things. Comic books have been used for like the fucking KKK to like get their like material out there, and like there's
so
also
is fucking music and film, man,
right? No, exactly. But there's also like graphic novels. There's comic books. The yada yada. It's spanned over the like 100 years now. Comic books, like it's hard. It's hard to be like, this is what a comic book like is, and like I've seen that about Deadpool, where it's like, Deadpool's like a comic book, so
it is kind of like, that thing. I mean, I've been guilty of saying it before too.
Oh no,
I've
said it
when
all
you
the
like
time.
a superhero movie, you're like, I don't know, it just kind of made me feel like I was reading a comic book again.
Yeah, yeah.
But
comic books are so
it's not just one. It's not just one thing.
You know, I feel like here's like the problem, right? So you have like, you know, the people who take comic books really seriously. You have like the people who like just like, you know, read comic books casually, and you have like the people who don't read like the comic books at all. And like the thing of it is like, you know, comic books in like to some people are like canon. To other people, you know, they're like you know, a comic book is to like intellectual consumption what popcorn is to like nutritional consumption.
Right.
And you have all these people making these things who I think we're like expecting too much out of like comic book movie or about these like comic book movies from like a lot of ways, you know, because like the people who are really into comic books are expecting like the canon and the plot and like that like linear forward movement, and the people. I think that's like making us all like really look at like comic books like as like a little too much of like a fucking thing when like the reality is like, yeah, okay, you need a narrative, you need like the fucking plot line, you need the continuity, the context helps, whatever, but at the end of the day, like, you really want to see like somebody throw like a car through a couple buildings and like fuck some shit up, you know, like, and like that's really, you know, the heart of it. And the problem is that we've been repeating like, you know, the originality in a comic book is the context of like the hero and their powers and how their powers came to be. It's not the more visual aspects of it, the more cinematographic or cinematic. Cinematic. The cinematic. I made a cinematograph the other day on my phone. That's why I said that. That's when you have like a picture where only part of it moves. Anywho, like the cinematic aspects, right, of a comic book get repetitive because they're all like kind of contingent on these like impossible human feats and these giant swaths of destruction and these like battles between two super people in like the fucking sky, you know. It's like, you know, all fucking flying saucers look fucking silver and spin, you know what I mean? It's just like after a while, you know, it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you pay too much attention to like the thing, you're not going to make the movie that people go to see, like that like stereotypical comic movie. But if you just make the stereotypical comic book movie, then like the real aficionados, who are like the people who control, I guess, like the intellectual sphere surrounding the canon of these like DC and Marvel universes, they fucking get pissed off.
Yeah, I mean, you can't please everybody in anything.
But it's like two dramatic fucking crowds that by pleasing one, you're totally sacrificing the other.
I did appreciate in this movie that like it wasn't taking itself, like obviously Deadpool doesn't take itself seriously.
Yeah. Right.
But the struggle was more of like a personal one, and it wasn't like the typical comic book like. Yeah. We're gonna destroy all these buildings and
there's not a big blue beam that's shooting into the sky, kind of.
You know, like even like the villain was on a personal revenge mission, but it was centered on one kid. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna destroy all of humanity.
I feel like every like fucking like Peter Parker's like, oh, Uncle Ben, and like fucking Batman's like, Rachel, and like fucking. Yeah, but I feel like that is like the subtext. I feel like you're only allowed to have like that excessive shit with like that nuanced like subtext there. So
well, that's often the context for the creation of a character, but then they're fighting villains who are like, oh, I'm got a big blue laser in the sky, and I'm gonna Independence Day this whole city, and
kind of
It just feels like they have to go through like the same like fucking like hierarchy of shit though. It's like first they're like there's a mugger, and then like there's a team of muggers, and then we find out this team of muggers is being influenced by like this guy, and like this guy has some henchmen. So now you got to go through the mugger, the team of muggers, the henchman, and then you get the fucking Magneto or some shit. You know what
isn't
I mean?
it better that the muggers that kill the girlfriend is a dead end, though? You know?
Yeah, I guess so. But like, I still
because
don't.
like they have nothing to do with the kid.
Okay, well, like, how the fuck did they know that dude's name was fucking Surge? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was like my hang-up. He was like, I'm in a garage, I'm killing people. Guy gets to the panic room. Suddenly, like 2 hours later, that dude's at his like fucking house, and it's like killing his girlfriend, and then he like kills him. Like, it didn't seem like there was like too much of a. I guess like the plot line is supposed to be assumed, right? That like fucking he was trying to assassinate Surge for some reason, you know. But like there was not enough of that conveyed to me that like justified this like assassination, and like more so like are you telling me that like fucking like the Yakuza isn't gonna come after your fucking family, but like Surge, who you just killed like everyone else in his circle, like is gonna get his 4 buddies and like find your house and then kill your fucking girlfriend?
You know,
It's nuts.
most definitely, and I think that's a big problem that I have with the fucking like globe-trotting like world assassin scene in the beginning, and I honestly don't even think it was funny. Like in this theater that I was in, I don't know why this is coming up now. I was sitting next to like a row of like high schoolers, and they were so ready to laugh at this movie, but laughed at all the wrong parts. I can't even think of all the wrong parts that they laughed at. But at the end, where there's that really emotional scene where Ryan Reynolds is finally able to break through as Deadpool, who kind of looks like this burn victim, and then goes
He literally is a
he's able to go in as a burn victim and kind of like walk through this invisible wall, which is like this big metaphor, and kind of then he looks like Ryan Reynolds kind of. Who I guess is, you know, from the original Deadpool or whatever, and then have this kind of emotional scene with the love interest. But as soon as he does that and he kind of like turns into Ryan Reynolds, they like all started busting up laughing because they kind of like thought it was a joke that they didn't understand yet.
Oh no!
And it was just like so. They also laughed at something else in the movie that was just like. I kind of looked over at them. I was like, guys, this isn't the funny part yet. Like, I know you guys are ready to laugh and you guys are prepped to kind of like laugh. Like, that's also why, like, maybe see this movie in a. Did you guys see this with people? Like, see this in a crowded theater, and I think that's the ideal place to see this because people will be like howling and laughing at certain parts or
there
whatever.
were some dudes who got like way too excited about some shit, and I was like,
It was probably like comic book cameos.
yeah, I don't want to be like no, it was like something like
It's like the opening credits too.
there was something that like this dude like laughed at that was just like such like an inside joke, and I could tell it was not
He
only
only
like
laughed at it because it was an inside joke.
yeah, I was just like, dude, do you just want everyone else to know that you understand this joke, or do you think that this is funny? And you could tell that the answer was he didn't really think that it was funny.
Right,
He just
yeah.
wanted people to
Yeah. No,
I fucking
definitely.
hate that guy. Greg, you idiot. I hate him.
It's also, I was listening to like this, Jesus Christ. I was listening to like this podcast on like NPR or something. I don't fucking remember what it is, but they do this deep dive into television and yada yada yada. Anyway, obviously the evolution of theater goes from like theater to television, and the invention of the laugh track is to show, you know, like obviously when people are in theater before television,
Sure. Encourages people to fucking,
yeah. When people are in theater and like obviously a more intelligent person laughs, and then the rest of the crowd kind of is like, you know, and then all of a sudden there's the invention of television, and we have sitcoms, and we put the laugh track in there to kind of train people to be like, this is the funny part.
Yeah.
We all laugh now, and it's like
it's like brainwash.
it's funny. It's kind of funny how
It makes
works
me
out.
it makes me really sad when
It makes me really that people can't laugh. When,
I had to stop watching like certain shows because of like the laugh track, because I was like, wow, I am so alone. I have provided myself with fake friends and laughter.
We're all having fun together with these real people. I think we should get into some ratings because we're pretty deep into this episode.
Let's do it.
Hour 45.
Hour 45?
We banged again,
Get
bro.
the fuck
We
out
banged
of
again.
here. That is ungoddamn believable. What time is it?
Time flies when you're having fun. It's 6 o'clock.
Oh,
Just a little
shit.
before.
No, it's not. Is it really?
It's
5:56.
5:56.
I need to pick someone up at the airport. Go. Rating. I literally need to be there at 6:45.
Who do you need to pick up at the airport?
My parents.
If you guys want to give your ratings real quick, and then you guys can bounce
I'll
out.
stick it out for the end. Just
Okay,
go quick.
Go.
All right. On review aggregator website Rotten
fuck.
Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of 84% based
Where'd
on
your parents
218 reviews. And an average rating of 7.1 out of 10. The website's critical consensus reads, though it threatens to buckle under the weight of its meta gags, Deadpool 2 is a gory, gleeful lampoon of the superhero genre, buoyed by Ryan Reynolds' undeniable charm.
It'll be fine. They actually probably got a connecting flight. Yeah, so I don't know, man. I always say start with one finger, and if that's good, try a couple more. But so I'm gonna start with one finger. I'm gonna see what you guys say, and then I'm gonna adjust my rating.
All right, cool.
Sorry, honey.
I think I'm going to give it 3
Okay.
out of 5. I really didn't like the first one. I had some higher expectations for this, and it met some of those. I was disappointed in other areas. But, I mean, like I said before, like if you just view it through the lens of, like, Deadpool doesn't give a shit. We shouldn't really give a shit about some of the parts of this movie. And that is kind of a cop-out in a way. But there's just parts that are just plain fun. And viewing it through that lens, I was able to actually enjoy this much more than the first one.
Trey ball.
3 fingers out of 5.
Joe.
I was trying to look at. Oh, yeah, I can see right here that I gave the original 2 fingers and Mike gave the original 1.5 fingers.
How many of these have you guys done?
Hundreds. No, I'm just kidding. It's like 130. 130 episodes.
This will be
every
This will
week.
be 133.
133. What did you give it?
3.
3. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think I've said everything that I needed to say. I mean, Hayden's parents need to get picked up at the airport. I don't know where they
I'm
were.
a cool musician.
I don't know where his parents were visiting. We've got a nice percussion section outside.
If that little fucker hits me down, I'm gonna donkey kick him down those
With
stairs.
just an undeveloped child just beating the cement with
3. I give it 3.
a bat. I think I'm gonna give it a 3.5 fingers. Yeah, because I think it was better.
I
It
changed
was-
my mind. 2.5.
It was leaps and bounds better than the first one, and I laughed and I actually enjoyed this film, but I think it was problematic and it had a multitude of plot gaps in the plot or whatever. But yeah,
I get.
2.5.
Yeah.
2.5.
2.5. I didn't think it was that fucking funny. Yeah. I thought it could have been
middle of the road,
I thought it could have
kind
been
of thing?
better.
Yeah. Okay. Not too bad, not too good.
I'll tell you what. Incidentally, if this had been like the first Deadpool, right? I think I would have given it like a higher rating. I think I would have given it like a 4 or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
But like my problem is like when like the sequel relies on the gags from like 1 and doesn't really branch out very far past that, except like a very surface level like refinement of like the thing. It was almost as if somebody edited Deadpool like 1 and was like, oh, okay, we shouldn't do like that again, but we should do more of that. You know what I mean? And it was just like, but not in like a really good kind of way. So I 2.5. Kiki.
Je suis d'accord.
Sweet d'accord. I don't fucking know. Yeah.
Exactly.
Just to speak French to me sometimes.
That's what I'm saying.
No. Normally other people don't get to see
Do you know how to say "let me bang, bro" in French?
What is it, honey?
I'm not gonna say that.
Oh,
I don't think you can.
I don't think you really can. Actually, I don't think there's
no bro.
There's no direct translation of bro.
Allow me to bang
culture,
mon
I
frere.
believe.
What is brother?
Frere.
Frère.
Frere, sorry.
What is let me bang brother?
It's got a whole different meaning.
Hey, we gotta go to the airport. Come on. No. I want you to say it. I don't think she knows.
Let me fuck brother.
No, I have to think about it.
I just say let me. I don't know. That kid's banging, bro. Like fucking.
That kid's like,
are you
let me
saying
bang.
I'm trying
on-
to think. I'm trying to think of the verb.
Allow me.
No,
Allow me to bang brother.
Like in a question. Like, are you phrasing a question here?
Let me
It's a-
bang, bro. Yeah, fine.
like- It's a request, yeah.
Yeah, a request.
Permit me to bang.
So like peux je
This is great.
to. I'm trying to think of the verb for like the more like
Have sex with?
not even like that.
Okay.
The more like slang version.
Yeah,
of
it is
that
more
word.
casual.
Slang of bang.
You say like punching somebody in French is like cuff, right? It's like cuff or like something like.
Sure.
It's like very,
I'm just trying
like,
to think
phonetic,
of the. Yeah,
so
I'm trying to
probably
think of
that.
the more informal.
Yeah, it might not
version.
work because by bang he means let me fight, but we understand it to mean let me bang.
Coupe. Oh,
Yeah,
coupe
it
is-
is.
No, coupe
It
is
is a
cut,
weird
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, sorry
I'll
guys,
get
we're
back
out.
to you.
No, it's fine.
Can we
Yeah.
do a close?
Yeah, one more time. When is the date of your album release? If you want to plug
If you
that.
heard me babble like an idiot, it's June 23rd. If you don't want to come anymore, I understand.
And where is that?
It's at Johnny Brenda's.
Johnny Brandes.
Yeah, Millennials in Love and Other Pre-Apocalyptic Standards.
And you can check out Millennials in Love, the
Coming to
single
a
on
dollar bin
Spotify
near
now. And
I'll be there.
Yeah?
Yeah,
I'm gonna hold you to it.
I'm
now.
coming. If
Now
you guys,
I gotta go.
If you guys want to hang out with, if you guys want to hang out with me and watch Hayden over here, let's do it. We're doing it.
Please come.
thanks for
Dude.
coming on, man.
Thanks for coming on, dude.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys. For
Pick up
having
those
me.
parents, man.
Yeah, sorry, man. I didn't
Oh,
want to
no, no
fucking spill like
problem.
that. I thought it was like fucking like 5:30 or
I only
something.
had a couple sips of this. So you guys want to
Oh no, yeah, sure, yeah. Yes.
Oh fuck, dude! They just sent me a text message that says landed. Dude, I'm so far away. See
Oh
you.
no, yeah, go for it. Yeah. All right, later, man.
Bye, guys. Thank you for having us.
Bye.
I'll let you bang anytime, bros.
Let me bang again.
And that was our review of Deadpool 2.
Drink Hayden's girlfriend's beer now.
Check us out next week for our review of Tully.
It's a good review.
Yes, already recorded.
I hope Hayden and/or his girlfriend doesn't have herpes,
I hope that too.
because now I have it. It was quite the review, though.
All right, we're gonna hop out of this one.
Yes,
It's
yeah.
been a long
Let's get the fuck out of here. Yeah.
HowManyFingersPodcast.com. See you guys later. Bye.